Hello, and welcome to another video. I'm going to update the gearing guide because 326 is actually worth wearing now. So first thing first, I want to go into something that some people seemingly are unaware of. This is where you select your specialization. For example, I'm only seeing these. When I hit all, I can see everything. And yes, you can purchase healer and other pieces. So for example, if you're looking for a crit chest piece, you can do this, or just have a force healer or one of the other specs that can roll a crit chest piece. So let's say if I bought this, I could then come over here, talk to this person, and we'll show up initially. Hit all here, and you can see the upgrade. So do keep that in mind. I'll mention it a little bit later. So first thing first, basically as a recommendation, I will say save your PvP boxes. These right here. Do not open these. You can also get it from GSF. I do recommend maybe watching a big's guide on how to play GSF, but simple basics is E is to target what's in front of you, which is my keybind to camo, and X to turn off your engine. Those are just really the only two things that I feel like you really need to know. There's definitely more nuances to it, and I recommend, again, watching the guide video. Other than that, moving on, I just recommend at least trying it, because 1000 tech for X is nothing to laugh about. It's a lot of tech for X. You can do it 3 times, so it's 2000. That'll definitely help getting your set bonuses, which you will need 2 of per class. So definitely keep that in mind. However, if you don't want to do that, it's completely fine. Going into basically gearing, you hold all this, and then there's other content you do. I'll show you guys real quick. They removed the keybind. I tried to hit the keybind for this, and it didn't work. So basically, CZ is really fast. What you would do is you would go and do CZ, and you get one of these boxes. In this box, it'll drop 320 aquatic gear. And with this aquatic gear, which is basically called conquest gear, you can then upgrade it with aquatics to make it 324. You want to get a full set of 324 through this. All these places give these boxes. So you can go through and do all of these and get a full set of 320. Or get a full set of 324, because they will upgrade. If you end up getting a full set of 320, then you'll start getting 322, and then you'll start getting 324, if that makes sense. So if you have enough aquatics, for example, which I'll show you right now, I'm not capped on these anymore, but I used to be. I can get these very easily. So basically, you'll use these to upgrade. So for example, I'll grab a piece just to show you guys. Number one thing I would recommend buying is coming down and grabbing a relic, right? So 10 metals accommodation, super cheap, and 60 good credits, no big deal. And again, if you want to look for certain stats, you just hit all. So we'll come over here, we'll talk to this guy, and you'll see how it lets me upgrade that. And I can hit all, and you'll see the prices of basically the upgrade. Not a big deal, right? So I do this, and then I would do this, which I don't have enough aquatics, so I can't upgrade it a second time. But if I get 324, once you get 324, you then start getting drops of 326. As you can see, I have currently equipped a veteran flashpoint relic, which is also the same as the PvP relic, and the NIM relic too, except for it doesn't go as high. You just need 1 324, and I had a 324 of the veteran flashpoint relic, right? And then I dropped the focus retribution PvP relic, because it would give 324 to 326. That's how the boxes work. So you'll get the next stage, and it goes off of like your highest slot, it seems. So you can completely skip upgrading your second relic almost completely. So you only need like 1 relic upgraded. So you can save some comms there. And with that in mind, I don't actually need this, so I'm going to sell this. It's for an example. Once you have that, you can then continue on. My bad. If you need frags, that's what I meant to cover here. So you see how my guild invasion will get extra rewards for the weekly. Obviously more if you're in a bigger guild that meets conquests. And completing conquests gives you 250, and then you get the bonus here. Right? I recommend doing this because if you need set bonuses, which you most definitely will, for some reason I am so used to going to Takana. Basically, you can buy your sub bonuses here. Again, you can go all, but unfortunately, you can't actually buy other classes' stuff. You have to actually be that class to buy the sub bonus. So do keep in mind that you're going to have to do this mission multiple times on your characters to probably get access to every single class's sub bonus, which definitely sucks. I'm a shadow secondary on this character, so I'm able to buy shadow stuff or assassin stuff, and I think I can also buy sorcerer stuff on this character too, which is nice. So basically, I can buy warrior and inquisitor stuff. That's awesome. So do keep that in mind, so you can cheese not having to do the quest as much. The quest really should have been normally one time per account. I don't understand why they did it like that. It sucks. But basically, once you have that out of the way, you get your sub bonuses. And one way that you have to remember with your gear is that when you're opening these boxes, again, see how I have a Force Healer chest piece because it has critical on it. I went critical and I don't really want the alacrity, but I do have the alacrity in case augments start working again. I'll probably swap over. But until then, I don't really want that because our critical is really low and I want better critical. So to min-max your gear a little bit better, you're going to have boxes on multiple different characters with multiple different specs to get the pieces that you want. So for example, there was a bug where the healer belt and bracelet was better than the DPS variants. You no longer need that, so you can just get the DPS variants of your wrists and your belt and not have to worry about that. That is no longer a thing, they fixed that. And then for the rest of your pieces, you basically want to be looking for critical or alacrity or whatever stats you're basically looking for. For example, I'm currently running 4300 and 1000. However, if I use these two pieces, I have the next GC threshold, then I have less crit. I usually swap between these. However, most of the time I prefer a higher crit because our crit is extremely low, 37%. That's really bad. But we're not going into stats in this video, so just keep in mind that you'll have to buy pieces from the vendor if you don't have that class, or go on that class and try to open stuff on that class to get what you want. This would be like the main place where I would recommend actually using your PvP currency is if you need, let's say, you use the full pummeler piece. So let me go to combat real quick. We're using a full pummeler set, so you see wrist belt, those are fine. You get critical on your boots, you get alacrity on your chest piece, accuracy on your glove, and accuracy on your legs, and alacrity on your helmet. You can make do with the alacrity, but let's say you don't want the accuracy, right? So then you would have to find a replacement for your glove and your leg. So then you would go to all, and you would look at the gloves and be like, all right, well, what glove has, different? For a Stealer, that's alacrity, but you see the one that I'm currently equipped is Bolt Blaster, so that's a Bounty Hunter DPS. So you'd buy or play a Bounty Hunter DPS, get the weekly done, get the box, and then make sure that that glove is the lowest item level, and then open that box. It's not 100% that you get the item or the slot that you're targeting, but most of the time it usually does work. So you could get this, or you could just purchase it. This is, again, why I say you should probably just purchase it to save yourself some time, because it is RNG at the end of the day, unless it is guaranteed your lowest piece and you want to upgrade that. I don't want to say for certain whether it will always work. Like, let's say, for example, your legs are your lowest, even lower than your gloves, for example. I don't want to guarantee and say it'll give you an upgrade for those slots, or it does anything else. I don't actually know. If somebody can correct me or confirm, that'd be great. But I don't want to say for certain, right? So do keep that in mind. You can manipulate it to get the pieces that you want, but in situations where you won't have the class or don't want to bother with that class, even if you're only doing GSF, I would recommend just buying and upgrading the piece, because you will have a decent amount of currency when you get about 12 boxes, because 12 boxes is around the amount that you need to get full through 26. So you'll have a decent amount of currency to buy or upgrade a couple pieces. And other than that, that's pretty much it. The gearing system is, I would say, a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. I understand that they tried to make it easier, but what they should have done for the gearing is for the weekly box, when you open a weekly box, let it be the slot that you have as your lowest, and then on top of that, when you open the box, they'll give you a selection of either alacrity, critical, we can have a selection and variation rather than just being locked into just one set stat. We wouldn't have to mix match different sets to get the stats that we want. This is PvP, so stats do vary quite a bit per class. So it makes no sense for us to be so like preset, right? We really don't want a preset for this. For PvE, maybe. For PvP, really, really do not want that. So having more selection would be really helpful, including in the vendor. If they can't give us, like let's say for example, they can't do that because it's too complicated and too much dev time, that's totally fine. What they could do instead is have that piece, like let's say I have a 326 helmet right here. If they make a new vendor, say we just add another vendor here where it's PvP Gear Exchange, so you could right click on him, let's say we would go in here, and you would see, oh, you got this already. You want to exchange this for critical? Oh, you want to exchange this for accuracy? They should let us do that. That would be one way to resolve the problem, like overall. And I would greatly appreciate that because PvP stats are usually going to be much different than PvE stats because we're not on such a tight budget. While we are still on a tight budget, it's not as tight as PvE because you have to hit 10% accuracy, and you have no choice in that matter at all. So when augments are basically working, I'll actually be going higher alacrity. But when augments actually work, you're basically going to be able to pretty much make use of whatever pieces that you get under 326. Like obviously our crit's pretty low, but we could aug for more crit, easy peasy, no problem. But right now augments don't work right now, neither do crystals. So min-maxing will require you to get the right pieces currently, but that will change in the future. So do keep in mind that your min-max outside of PvP is going to be different than your min-max in PvP until they fix that augments are not working. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope this helped. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave in comments. I'm more than happy to help. And I guess I will see you guys soon.